Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope everyone is having a good week and is excited that it is Friday. Whenever I do these Facebook Lives, I always, sometimes the lighting gets messed up, especially if it's very bright outside, which it is right now. It makes me look really dark, and I always contemplate buying one of those like lights that sits behind the cameras so that I don't look so dark. And I always wonder if it's worth the investment or not. I should probably look into that. Anyways, not what I want to talk about at all. It's lighting. But I hope everyone has had a good week, and I was looking forward to the weekend. As you can see, it's super bright and nice outside here in New Hampshire. We, like I predicted, we have skipped spring and went straight into summer. I think it's supposed to be 88 degrees today, so quite a change from a few weeks ago where I was complaining about running in the snow. But yep, that's New England. Anyways, today's topic is something I run into actually quite frequently with people. Not necessarily my clients, because they're lucky enough to have me. They're lucky to have me designing a lot of their nutrition guidelines. But with people online, certainly that I speak to, they run into a lot of problems with kind of like cookie cutter meal templates. And so I was scrolling through my emails this past week and came across an email from a popular race brand that I follow, and they were advocating their new kind of restart nutrition guideline thing or whatever that they were promoting. So, being the nutrition nerd that I am, I dove into the email, and an hour later, I found myself with 20 tabs open and reading all kinds of blog posts that they were putting on their website about their nutrition recommendations and all this stuff. And eventually, it all stemmed from this one PDF that they had that was nutrition guidelines that they wanted you to follow. It was basically a meal template, right? It said, here are the foods that you could eat. So there was like different categories. There were lean proteins, things with like tofu and fish, and lean ground beef and lean steak and ground turkey, and something called Coron, which I had not heard of before, but apparently is a fake meat type of situation. So that was new to me. Some dairy products, etc., etc. Vegetables, all your healthy vegetables, fruits, those are whole foods, grains. So they're advocating the use of like whole grains, whole grain bread, oatmeal, beans, lentils. Um, Although I don't think beans and lentils are technically grains. Pastas, that type of stuff. Healthy fats, which this is the one where I would probably have a little bit of a problem with, because their first healthy fat is canola oil, which um, I won't go into here, but just stay away from canola oil if you can. And other, fats like nuts and peanut butter and nut butters and stuff like that. So while I don't particularly agree with all these different, uh, you know, uh, food types, I don't think that you need to avoid fattier cuts of meat. I don't think that necessarily grains are going to be the best for everyone or particularly necessary, but they are talking to athletes here who probably have a little bit different, nutrition demands than someone else. So maybe some grains probably are in the picture there. They also, I just noticed, they also have sweet potatoes listed under grains, which makes me question this whole thing even more. So, yeah. Um, and basically, the idea was that you pick and choose your foods from these categories, and so you eat 3 meals a day and one snack. Those meals uh, all include 3 ounce of some type of the lean proteins that they suggest, 2 cups of vegetables, which is a decent serving of vegetables, 3/4 of cups of grains or beans, or a third of a cup of fresh fruit, or 1 3/4 of a whole grain bread, whatever that means. I don't really know how you get 3/4 of a whole grain bread, and a tablespoon of oil or nut butter, or 30 grams of nuts. So I don't have any problems with the vegetable recommendations. I think 2 cups or more is perfectly fine. Um, what I did initially, the first thing I always look at whenever I'm looking at someone talk to me about what they're eating or suggesting foods is the protein, right? And I was like 3 ounces. 3 ounces 3 times a day. That's 9 ounces of protein a day. And I was like, oh, that seems quite low. So I threw some of these things into Chronometer just to get an idea, right? And I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. So I chose chicken breast, which I figured would be the highest protein per ounce food that they have listed there. So just to give them, the best benefit of the doubt. And then I chose as my 3/4 a cup of grains or whatever starch carb thing category that they had here. I chose beans because I knew beans had protein in it. So again, I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt of how much protein you're actually recommending here. And so if you did chicken breast and beans, if that was your choice, you came out to around 121 grams of protein, which depending on your size is okay, which is a whole different story, right? It's not terrible, right? But if I did not choose to have beans at my meal and I instead chose to have fruit or bread or whatever else they're recommending here, I'll certainly probably be below the 100-gram mark for my protein for a day, which for an adult I'm guaranteeing is going to be too low. So that's problem number one. Problem number two I had with this is just the fact that there's no consideration for you as an individual here. So basically, the total calories came out to be around 1,600 to 1,700 calories. Again, we're talking about athletes here, people who are working out. This is from a race company, someone that might be training for an upcoming race. 1,700 calories, probably too low, depending on your size. If you're a very small female, maybe I could possibly give you a little bit of leeway here and say that it's okay. But if you're me, that's way too low. Way too low. And so this is the problem when not that I blame them for trying to give kind of nutrition advice. I think that people are interested in what to eat, and a lot of people need help deciding how to eat. And there's lots of all kinds of different advice out here. So taking some type of stance as a race company, like I could see them wanting to do that. However, giving people advice and not having any shape, form of customization in it is dangerous. Because you don't, like, everyone is an individual and you're losing the context of the individual by just telling everyone who reads your post that this is how you should eat and this is the amount of calories that everyone needs, and etc., etc., etc. Not to mention that they're recommending something around 1,700 calories, maybe, give or take. And I mean, even the FDA recommends that the average adult eats 2,000 calories a day. It's below that, right? So it's just really bad, right? And I see this over and over and over again, where people use apps or things on their phone, and just like, at least with an app, like, it takes into consideration maybe your height and your weight, whereas they just give you a PDF with no consideration for your height or weight or activity level or anything like that. If you use an app, at least they take into account things like height, weight, and maybe your activity level, but still they just throw out random numbers of like macro breakdowns and stuff like that. So I encourage everyone, and I know it's hard, I know it's not everyone's favorite thing to do is to go and try and figure out what is right for them. But I mean, what I would recommend everyone as an exercise do is like look up your BMR calculator, right? And this is your basal metabolic rate. And basically all you need is your height, your weight, and your age, and your gender. You enter that in there and it gives you a number, right? And then some of the more advanced calculators will say, well, how active are you? Are you working out? Are you not working out at all? Are you completely sedentary? Are you working out, 1 to 2 times a week? Are you working out 6 times a week, etc.? So it'll actually give you some type of adjustment based on your activity level, spit out a calorie number, right? Go with that, right? It's not right. I guarantee it's not right. It's going to be off, but it's a starting place, right? It's at least somewhat customized to you, right? It knows your height, your weight, your activity level, right? And your gender, your age. From there, now you need to decide, how much you're going to eat, right? And what kind of foods you're going to eat. And I don't care what diet you follow, you need to eat protein, right? So I always start with protein. Protein is the first thing to do. Protein, you basically take a gram per pound. Just start there, right? Again, you can get more nuanced about it. You can get, more specific about it. You can do lean mass, you can, etc., right? But just do a gram per pound, right? Just start with. You can't go wrong, right? You can't go wrong with a gram per pound of body weight. If you're obese, do ideal body weight, right? So if you want, if you weigh 350 pounds and you want to weigh 175 pounds, use a gram protein per pound of body weight. And will give you, whatever your ideal body weight is or your current body weight is, and that's how much protein you should eat. Multiply that times 4, that gives you the number of calories of protein that you're going to eat per day. Subtract that from your total, and now you have what's left over, and that needs to be split between carbohydrates and fat. And how many carbohydrates and fat you require, right? I wouldn't recommend going anywhere less than 50 to 60 grams of fat, right? That's pushing it. But if how you split up your carbohydrates and fat from there is up to you based on the diet you want to follow, right? And there are plenty of other calculators you can find online that can tell you how many carbohydrates and fat to eat from there, right? If you want to say, I want to eat, maybe just do 50-50. Just start there, 50% carbohydrates, 50% fat, and then whatever calories is left over after protein. Carbohydrates are again 4 calories per gram, and carbohydrates, fat is 9 calories per gram of fat. And so split it up from there and just start there, right? At least it's somewhat customized to you. And I know all this math is makes people's heads spin if you're not a math person, and I understand that. So, if you want to take an even simpler approach, just calculate your protein, and then I don't really care what else you eat. Just start with your protein. Just eat 1 gram per pound of body weight protein and just go from there, right? And try to hit the calories, right? So just track calories and protein, right? But I'm certainly happy to help anyone that needs help trying to figure out, how many grams of protein or fat or carbs or etc., how much they should be eating. But just please don't follow some cookie cutter nutrition plan that you find online, because it's not going to be individualized for you and it's not going to be sustainable. We need to start somewhere, and I always start with protein and go from there. And if you need help trying to figure out what that looks like on your plate, or how many calories it is, or what, how many grams of protein or fat or carbs, etc., happy to help. I can point you to plenty of resources online that I think are pretty good that you can use to figure this stuff out. Just don't follow some basic meal template. Just don't do it, right? Put a little bit more effort in. Reach out to people. There's plenty of people besides myself that would help you. But yeah, that's my rant for today. Just don't follow anything that's cookie cutter, whether it's a meal template or an exercise template or anything like that. Try to at least individualize it to yourself. So that, I hope you didn't mind me ranting about that, but I did. So thank you for listening. And with that, I'll say goodbye to everyone. I've been ranting long enough. I hope everyone has a great weekend and a nice upcoming week. As always, reach out to me. Like I said, if you need any help on this topic, I know it's a confusing one, and it can be challenging sometimes. So please reach out. Don't comment below, send me an email, direct message me, whatever you want. Happy to talk about that and help you out there. Sign up for my newsletter if you want to get all the content I put out, including these Facebook Lives on a weekly basis. You go to my health coaching page at rjbhealth.coach. Right at the top, there's a newsletter link. Click that, enter your email address, and you'll be signed up. And if you're interested in health coaching, it's still full, so jump on the waiting list. You can go to my website, rjbhealth.coach, and right at the front page there's a schedule discovery call link, and you can click on that and put your name in, fill out the form, and I'll be in contact with you from there. Yeah, that's all I got for today. I hope everyone has a good weekend, and I'll talk to you next week.